and Kerkez basically man-marked Minteh the whole game. He's as cool as James Bond in a white tuxedo. Ekitike doesn't care who it is, he just flies past John Travolta style, and this is something that I did not know he had in his game. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to The Golden Sky. I'm Tom, and in today's video, I'm going to analyse Liverpool's 2-0 victory against Brighton. Another win for Liverpool, stacking a few in a row now. Let's go through, first on the tactical board, some of the things you need to look out for in this video that Liverpool did in that game. And then, as always, we'll go through all the clips that I've pulled out. I'll tell you what I think we did well, what we did not so well, and just anything that I found interesting in the game. Let's get into it. Okay, so here is the two sides and how they lined up in the game that took place on the weekend. Now, Liverpool deployed the diamond that we've been seeing recently, a change from Arne Slot that I think has worked pretty well. And I've put it on here with Gomez at right back to show how we started the game. Now, Isak had a knock in this game, and it was interesting because it actually meant a lot of the times that when we didn't have the ball, McAllister joined Ekitike as that second striker. Then Wirtz would go out to the left midfield, Szoboszlai would come right, and we'd defend like this. Now, I've given my criticisms in the past of the diamond system, meaning Wirtz has to come and defend as a left midfielder. He was actually pretty good at defending as left midfielder in this game. I just don't want him doing it all the time. I understand. We definitely don't want McAllister doing it. I mean, he has no legs at all. And I thought it was interesting that they went with that instead of maybe Jones coming out here, McAllister going in here, and Wirtz pressing as that second striker. That isn't what we did. We did this with, like I just had it set up. But that is how we set up when we didn't have the ball. And when we did have the ball, like I just had it, we sort of had Wirtz as the 10, Gravenberch and as the deepest midfielder with Jones and Szoboszlai wide. Szoboszlai tends to be the more wider of the two, and Jones drops into the back three again in this game. I'll put that on in a second. McAllister and Wirtz very much did a sort of double 10 sort of thing. Neither of them were really strikers. Neither of them were really the point of the diamond. It was quite fluid, and I think that's purely down to personnel, just to not having Isak. And then when Salah came on, so let's change Gomez to Salah, just for the purpose of when he came on. So Szoboszlai obviously went to right back, and then Salah was on. Instead of us going Ekitike and Salah up front, maybe with something like McAllister out here, Wirtz out here, and pressing like this. Again, this doesn't work, guys, because McAllister doesn't have the legs to do this. We actually ended up, again, with Salah defending as a right midfielder, versus a left midfielder, and then Ekitike and McAllister as a 4-4-2. So that's something to look out for in the clips that I'm going to show you in a second. Another thing to look out for is Brighton on the ball. So Minteh is a big threat for Brighton. I said that in the preview. And Kerkez had a great game against him in this game. It was a good battle. Minteh came out on top a couple of times, but Kerkez, for the most part, did really well against him. And Kerkez basically man-marked Minteh the whole game. If Minteh came in here, Kerkez followed him. If Minteh made a run down here, Kerkez followed him. He would completely isolate this left-hand side of the pitch that he was defending. His concern was just following Minteh wherever he went, and he did a great job of doing that. Another thing to keep an eye on in the game is how we played when we had the ball ourselves. So let's put Brighton back where they were. A lot of the times when we'd be attacking, we obviously have Ekitike up here. Wirtz was sort of in a free roll. McAllister would often be in this sort of last line as well. We'll leave Jones back here. Gravenberch would just be roaming. Salah, for the most part, would be wide when he was on. Szoboszlai backing him up. Kerkez would come narrow-ish. And then what we'd have is, again, this back three formed with Jones. Now, we saw it in the last game against Inter, where Jones was the left-sided centre-back in the build-up, with Van Dijk taking up that middle, and Jones really helping build up through that left channel. Now, in this game, more often than not, we actually saw Jones drop in as the central centre-back, maybe something that you're more used to seeing your number 6 doing. It's very interesting to me that we make Jones do this instead of Gravenberch. We clearly trust Jones more in build-up, and I agree with that as well, if that is Slot's idea, because he helps us progress the ball so much better, and we're going to see that in the clips as well. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind Kerkez's position, our setup off the ball, and our setup on the ball with Jones dropping in as that third midfielder, and then the slight changes in how Wirtz's position changed when he was off the ball, defending as a left midfielder rather than as the second striker, with McAllister doing that role instead. Let's go look at the clips that I took from the game and talk through those. Alright guys, so first literal clips of the game is the first minute of the game, because obviously we scored. We scored the fastest goal in the league this season, a record that stood for exactly 1 day before it was broken, which is great. And it was only the second goal Liverpool have scored in the first half an hour of a game in the Premier League this season. The first one coming on the first day of the season against Bournemouth. So it took us a while, but it was a much better start from us in this game. The intensity levels were much, much higher than what I've been seeing, especially at Anfield in the Premier League. And you can see that from this literal first kickoff here. Lewis Dunk has the ball, and Szoboszlai is setting that tone straight away, running onto Lewis Dunk, and you see the build-up, the setup out of possession for us. Wirtz is on that left-hand side, defending as a left midfielder. Szoboszlai's jumped forward from his right midfielder slot. McAllister has actually dropped back in, and we sort of have a 4-1-4-1. You can just see Gravenberch just about here on the screen, just coming into the frame. He's like the defensive midfielder, and then we have the 4-1-4-1 in front of him. But Szoboszlai presses really well, forces Dunk to make this pass to Belieber. Now, this isn't anything crazy. This is just Brighton trying to build up. But Jones is nice and aggressive in his press, and I've said this countless times about him. He's the best presser, maybe Szoboszlai aside, in our entire squad. He does a great job here, jumping on to Belieber, forces the pass back to Dunk. But he doesn't just end his run there. He carries on with intent. It's actually intent to not just press for the sake of filling up the space and because you're supposed to. He's actually trying to tackle Brighton and win the ball back. And that's a real difference in the intensity of how you press. If you press to just close down and maybe just fill up space, there's a difference in doing that and actually pressing to win the ball back and tackle and make a chance from your own pressing. And that's what Jones does here. Forces Dunk to hurriedly play one back to Verbruggen. Not quite what Brighton wanted to do. You see the pass is a little bit wayward. It goes sort of wide. Verbruggen has to kick the ball long, off balance. And it's a good turnover from us, literally in the first couple seconds of the game. Now, we see here, the intensity is just a lot different from Liverpool. I've pointed out our starts in games many, many times. I've pointed out when we've had throw-ins, we'd like to take ages to take a throw-in early in the game, try and settle everything down. I'm thinking of Brentford, for examples. I'm thinking of United, for examples, when we did this. And we really lull the tempo of the game immediately down to a walking pace, a snail's pace. Kerkez does the opposite here. The ball has barely gone out. You can see he's just about rushing over to the touchline, ready to pick the ball up and immediately throw it. It keeps the game flowing quickly. It doesn't let Brighton get set up. We see Verbruggen still out of his goal. Dunk's still very deep. They're not quite ready to defend. So Kerkez takes advantage, throws the ball down the line. Wirtz gets onto it, is able to find a pass to Jones. Now, Minteh is going to come back here and he's going to tackle Jones. A rare time that Jones was tackled in this game. But you see, we've managed to force Brighton right back into their own right back area. They've got lots of players around the ball, but so do we. We've got players pushed forward. You see Jones and Wirtz obviously forward from the throw-in. Kerkez has pushed right up. McAllister and Ekitike pushed up again as well. McAllister doing that second striker role. Szoboszlai right up with Gomez. Gravenberch pushed right onto Gruder, so there's no pass that can possibly come into him here. So Minteh has no choice but to kick the ball long from a difficult position in his own corner flag. And now we see the other side of the pitch, really aggressive, really intent on winning tackles, winning headers. Joe Gomez does a great job here, comes in nice and brave with his header. Could easily have got a boot to the face or something. Brave, comes in, wins the header, and it falls to the right man. Hugo Ekitike, 48 seconds into the game. I mean, look, he takes his first touch. He's as cool as James Bond in a white tuxedo. He just takes the touch, belts the thing in the net on the second touch right here, which is the perfect start for us. It really, really was. And it just settled any nerves that might still be there, lingering from our bad run of form. It was a great start, and he just continues to impress. And he was absolutely excellent in this game, and he's going to come up countless times in these clips for good moments that he produced in the game. And this was actually a really underrated finish, you know, because you can see the point of contact he makes with the ball is at a bit of an awkward height. He's under a little bit of pressure. So to be able to get this down under the crossbar, but keep the power on it so it goes right over Verbruggen's head, where he can't react quickly enough to save it, is excellent from Ekitike. Now move on to a replay of that goal. I just put this in just so you could see the positions of our players where Minteh makes this clearance. Look how high up we are. Look at the intent we have to try and win the ball. Compare this to Sunderland a couple of weeks ago when we put basically no pressure on Sunderland in our own half, the whole half. This is a lot different. Wirtz is right up against Minteh on literally the goal line. Kerkez here. McAllister's ready to press. Szoboszlai is as well. Kerkez, Jones. Gomez is lingering in the right area behind my head. He's just up there. You can't quite see him, but he's there. Obviously comes in to win the header. We're almost man-to-man. Not quite, but almost. And that's a lot better. And that's something that I want to see, especially when we play at home. Again, I put this one in so you could see the positions of the centre-backs now. Konate and Van Dijk. This is who I want to draw your attention to. You can see well inside our own half, shifted over to the side of the pitch where the ball was. So even if Brighton were to clear this one, more towards the halfway line rather than where Gomez is going to head it, see the ball is just here in the air, landing on Gomez's head shortly. It's likely that Van Dijk or Konate would have been able to pick this ball up and we could have sustained that attack and really squoze up the pitch, which is something that I've wanted to see us do for a long time, rather than this sort of slow ease into the game style that we've been adopting early in the season. So now I've given Liverpool a bit of praise there. It's time to give them a little bit of criticism in this game. Certainly not immune from it. We didn't have a perfect performance. In all honesty, we were quite lucky to not concede in this game. And here we see a big problem with the diamond. If you don't get your positions right, it can be picked apart very, very easily. This is definitely a fragility of the diamond. We see Jones. He's made a run to sort of try and press with Szoboszlai over here. And in doing that, has vacated this sort of left-hand side of the diamond where he might be if he hadn't made that press. Now, there's nothing wrong with him doing this. It just means that the other players have to shuffle across and do his work for him. I'm talking McAllister really here is the one that I'm getting onto. This isn't really Ekitik's job, but he's got to recognise that Jones has made that burst. Maybe they've got to communicate a bit better, and he's got to come in here and screen this pass, which Van Hecke is going to make to Ruter up front. Wirtz is not over in left midfield where he should be defending. He's also gone to press just before this. And I want to look at Gravenberch as well. You can just about see him here. I don't think he's in a great position. I want to see him slightly more centrally here. So then if this ball comes in, maybe he can get pressure onto Ruter nice and quick and maybe challenge him, maybe put him off his first touch. But he's nowhere near here. He's not really in a great position for me. The ball comes into Ruter. You can now see the space he has. They've cut out basically 4 players, or 5 even, players for Liverpool there, and got through the lines very, very easily. Now, this is something that we need to work on if we're going to try and press in a new structure. They get the ball to Minteh, who's the danger man. They've got players running forward. Minteh goes one-on-one with Kerkez, and this is a time where Minteh actually manages to get his shot off. Now, I like to see that we got players around the ball. Van Dijk's there, McAllister's back, Kerkez is challenging. It's good effort from us. We actually managed to close down well enough. I like the fact that Kerkez didn't have his arms behind his back. That's something he does all the time, guys, if you ever noticed that. He likes to defend with his arms behind his back, and I don't really like him doing that all that much. I understand why he has to do it. I just think it puts him a little bit off balance. Minteh has the shot. We're lucky it goes just wide. A warning sign. Again, Brighton here, trying to build up. You see, this pass is on Van Hecke into Gruder, but our formation here is a lot better. We're a lot more set, and we see in here what I pointed out on the board. We've got McAllister and Ekitike as the front 2, and then we've got the midfield 4 behind them. So this is before Salah's come on. It's still early in the game. Wirtz is defending as left midfielder. Jones and Gravenberch are in great positions here. This is obviously not a diamond. You wouldn't defend in a diamond. You defend in a flat 4 as a 4-4-2 when you play a diamond, typically. Jones is doing a good job. He's in a decent position, and also Van Dijk is doing really good here. He's seen this pass, the possibility of it happening, and he's already stepping in. So if Van Hecke does make this pass, by the time the ball's travelled over, Van Dijk's going to be right there to make the challenge. So that's really good anticipation from him and good positional sense from us. But they don't play that pass. Van Hecke recognises that situation, and it comes out here to Ruter. Now, Vifa is the one who causes us problems here. So he's made the run from right back, and it causes a little bit of confusion for us defending in the 4-4-2 formation. Now, Wirtz is doing his job as a left midfielder. He's going out to Ruter. I think he does the right thing. And Jones is dropping in to cover Vifa, which I think is also the right thing to do. He's recognised there's a little bit of danger if they're able to get it through, and he goes with him. Now, Minteh is the one who they were concerned with on this right wing, and you see he makes a really, really clever run here. It's good play from Brighton, to be honest. He just makes a run off this touchline inside, and knowing how tight Kerkez was to him, Kerkez follows him. And this is something I also pointed out on that board earlier. Kerkez just followed Minteh wherever he went. When he made that run inside, Kerkez went with him, and Vifa has made a nice advanced run from right back into the channel now where he can receive the ball. Good from Jones to track it. This is exactly what you'd want from your midfielder, so I'm giving credit to him as well here, whilst also pointing out slightly some defensive frailties in our setup. Now, this is where Jones makes a mistake for me, ever so slightly. He does try and win the ball off Vifa. I don't mind the aggression, but he does lose the tackle, and you see Vifa is able to break away. Now, Kerkez finds himself in a little bit of no man's land. He's gone with Minteh, but Kerkez doesn't want to be in here marking Yankuba Minteh. Kerkez wants to be here as a left back. So he's now stuck. He's thinking, well, I'm going to try and tackle Mats Vifa. However, he's not able to. The ball comes into Minteh, and then he suddenly has too much space in the middle. Now, this is where, again, I'm going to be critical of Gravenberch's positioning. I think maybe could he sense the danger here and maybe start to run over and close this gap. I think he's slightly too stationary for me. You see he's barely moved in between the two shots. Could he come over and maybe close this ball down or close Minteh down? McAllister makes a late effort, but it's not really his job in my eyes. And then we see this pass Minteh makes. It's a great ball into Gomez, who makes a great run. And our Gomez is a little bit late on the cover, but it's a good run. It's difficult to cover this pass. And we're lucky because he gets through here. This is a great, great chance. And Alisson makes a brilliant save, and that's why I gave him the rating that I did for making this save, even though it was really his only major save to make. He did save us, and it was a bit of a red carpet pass from Minteh, to be honest. It was a really good ball, and Alisson makes the save and keeps it at 1-0. So credit to him. A little bit to work on from Liverpool. I think the central midfielders there, Jones and Gravenberch, just got to work on that understanding and the positioning in this 4-4-2. Now, here's a situation of us trying to build up from a goal kick, and I put this in because it was a really interesting setup that we deployed. So Van Dijk quite often takes our goal kicks, especially if we're going to kick the ball long. Now, obviously, if we play short here, he can pass it to Alisson. This is very common. A lot of teams do this where the centre-backs take the goal kick, so then the goalkeeper can have the second touch, and he has these two passes available to him. It's difficult for the other team to know what to press. But Van Dijk also kicks the ball long better than Alisson does these days. I don't know if Alisson's legs have just fallen off or what, but Van Dijk, as we know, is an excellent passer with his long-range passes. Now, what's interesting is he's actually going to hit this pass to Joe Gomez, who's one of our most advanced players. You see our centre-mids have dropped in to form options on the edge of the box. Kerkez is near enough to Van Dijk in a pretty normal left-back position. Szoboszlai's dropped in. But Gomez is the one, you'll see, he's really, really advanced. And this ball comes out. He's our second most forward player behind our striker, Hugo Ekitike. I wonder if that's something Slot had focused on as a weakness specifically for Brighton, using Gomez's physicality against Kadioglu, who's a bit of a smaller fullback, a good player, but you see Gomez wins that physical battle, leaves Kadioglu down, and we profit from it. We also didn't see this type of build-up once Salah came on. This could be something to keep in mind. Interesting build-up style from us. Gomez works his way brilliantly all the way down the byline, and excellent from us. We've managed to get players in the box. I love to see this. McAllister's taken up a great position in the middle. You know, if something breaks for him, he's in a good spot. Wirtz also in a good spot, just in case maybe Gomez fires this across. There's a deflection. You can come onto it. But Ekitike is the one. Makes a good run. Gomez finds him with a good pass. And he makes the connection. He should do better here. He should hit the target. This is my criticism with Ekitike in this game. He could have maybe had a few more. Can he get this one on target? Difficult shot because there's bodies in the way, but he does hit it over. But good play from us. Very quick transition from a goal kick. We've really struggled at making chances from our own deep possession this season. We're doing a bit better at it recently, I've got to say. Now, here's an example of how we set up with Jones helping us build up. And this is what I said on the board earlier. He's the middle centre-back in this game more often than he's the left centre-back like we saw against Inter. I don't know exactly why that happened. Maybe it wasn't by design, but he helps us so much in build-up because he's just so calm on the ball, and having that extra body to help not always have the ball funneled to Konate has helped us a lot. Also, his tempo is very good. He seems to pass the ball quite quickly. I can't complain. And here he does exactly that as well. You see we've got Gravenberch more advanced than him, despite Gravenberch usually being known as the deepest midfielder for Liverpool. It's interesting that we're using him this way. I'm talking Jones here. The ball comes out to Gomez, and Florian Wirtz makes a good run. Now you see how Wirtz and McAllister, they're at a very similar level in the pitch. both acting as sort of free role number 10s in this game. I thought it suited them well. I thought Wirtz, especially in the first half, was excellent. He was all over the pitch and does well here. As soon as the ball hits him, the tempo of the game increases. He leaps into action. He starts immediately dribbling directly at Brighton's defence. It's great. He causes problems. I love to see this. The strength he's got here to hold off the challenge. That's something I want to see more of from him. Runs into a good area, finds a little back heel to Ekitike. Really clever pass. Makes the chance from our own build-up. Something, like I said, we've really struggled with. We've already just seen 2 examples here, leading to Ekitike having shots in very similar situations. This one, he drags a little bit wide. Can do better again. He's got to hit the target for me. Especially just having a sighter before it. But great play from us. We see McAllister in that position. Again, good position from him. Kerkez even crashing at the back post. I'm happy with that. We've not got too many players committed. This is all a good balance. We're building up better. It's much, much better. Much more organised from us than examples we've seen in the season so many times that have been poor. Now, again, Brighton on the ball this time. It's Vifa again, who was inverting from right back quite a lot. Salah's on the pitch now. And we see sort of, again, that 4-1-4-1 now Salah's come on, where Gravenberch is a little bit deeper. McAllister's dropped into midfield. We see the 4 like this versus the left midfielder, and Kerkez super tight to Minteh. Now, the ball actually comes out to Minteh, and this is an example of where Wirtz, who I've said, I don't know how he'll be as a left midfielder defensively. I don't want him having to make those hard yards running back and forth from number 10 to left midfield. But here's an example of him making me eat my words. I mean, excellent defending. Completely takes Minteh's lunch money. I mean, just tackles him, leaves him for dead in a defensive sense. Makes the tackle, finds his mate Ekitike, who flicks the ball onto him, and we're out. And then Wirtz again repays the favour, finds Ekitike, who, to be honest, just turns on the absolute jets. I mean, this guy, he just turns on the jets. He's away. Now, here's where he falls down. In my eyes, this is where he can improve his game a little bit. Makes a great run, bursts away from Belieber. Brighton wanted £100 million for this fella in the summer. Ekitike left him about 100 million yards behind him. Just destroyed him. Was like Sonic, honestly. Plays the ball inside. Now it's the correct pass, which I'll give him credit for. He does the right thing. This ball should come into McAllister or into Wirtz, but he doesn't quite know who he's aiming for, and it goes in between them both, and Wirtz has to stretch for it. And if he takes this one in his stride, he can have a shot at goal. He can maybe lay Mo Salah in. There's many options. We just mess it up a little bit. It does end up with Mo Salah, but you see Brighton have been able to get back behind the ball. Salah finds a nice clever pass to Wirtz, who in turn finds a nice clever pass to Ekitike, dinks it into him, and he's really unlucky with this one. We've criticised him a little bit here with in this short clips, some of his finishing. This one is really unlucky. He takes it on the volley, sort of no backlift, curls it, aiming for this corner, just narrowly goes wide. Really good effort from him. Nice play from us again, all the way from the back. Wirtz and Ekitike, excellent. They seem to be forming a nice little understanding as well. Now, we move into the second half here. Now we've got Ekitike again, showcasing his ability, and this time it's his defensive work. Really good work rate from him. Wins the ball off of Vifa, makes the tackle, and then he's off. And he really is, he's like grease lightning when he gets going. He is just out of town. He just flies past Minteh. Belieber's next, leaves him, doesn't want any part of this, flies by Minteh, keeps going. Now he's got 2 players ahead of him, Van Hecker and whoever the hell this is who's come out to meet him. I'm not sure. It's Hinchelwood, I think. Ekitike doesn't care who it is. He just flies past John Travolta style, gets himself in to a shooting position, takes a shot. Now he's a little bit off balance. The shot goes wide, but it's excellent, excellent play from him. There's an argument maybe he could lay this one to Szoboszlai or even further to Mo Salah. But he has that sort of selfish striker mannerism and confidence, which is honestly not a bad thing at all. It reminds me a little bit of how Daniel Sturridge was. He always thought, the best option I have is for me to have a shot because I will score. That's what he reminds me of a little bit. He's got that sort of, that air of confidence in his game. And I love to see that. Brilliant play from him individually here. Now, this is a situation, again, where we get caught out and we get very, very, very lucky not to concede here. This was from a goal kick from Brighton where we really get exposed, and it's all because of the positioning of our defenders. Now, I want to be critical in this situation of Van Dijk, mostly. Kerkez is doing his job, in effect. Now, he maybe isn't in the right position. You might say, why is he here? Why is he more inside the pitch than Van Dijk is? He's following Minteh. You have to remember that. That's what he's done all game. He kept him quiet enough. Did a great job. He's following Minteh, so he's gone inside. Van Dijk has to recognise this situation, and he has to get out here. Or he has to communicate, look, Milos, you get yourself out here, I'll get myself back in here, and we can deal with it before Vifa gets it under control and before he can play this past the Minteh. But they don't do that. The ball comes inside, and now we're left with Kerkez at left back, Kerkez at centre back, dealing with Minteh, and Van Dijk sort of trying to rush back into position. The ball comes back out wide into Vifa. Kerkez still with Minteh, and Van Dijk hasn't been able to occupy anybody really in this move. I think here he has to switch on to the fact that he is now playing left back and turn his body position to face, sort of imagine he's facing this way so he can see out here and he can see out here. He doesn't do that. He's concerned with getting back to centre back. Vifa gets the ball comes across to the back post, and I mean, how Gomez doesn't score this chance, I have no idea. We get very, very lucky. He hits the post. It's extremely lucky. We get away with it. More defensive problems for us here. Again, we won this game 2-0. It doesn't mean that we're immune from criticism. It was much better, but still not perfect. And we see here Szoboszlai's deficiencies as a right back. Now, he does a great job at right back. We all know that. He puts in amazing amounts of effort. But there's certain times he can get caught out, and one of them's here. Gomez just simply plays this ball back to Kadioglu. We see that midfield four with Salah as the right midfielder, Wirtz as the left midfielder, and then the front two, again, I'm going to keep pointing that out. It's really important how you recognise how we've set up defensively. Is it the right personnel? Are we in the right positions? I think we're okay here, to be honest. We forced the ball back. It's good pressure. But he's just a little bit aggressive, and then he switches off ever so slightly. This is the right back instinct that he doesn't have to think, right, well, as soon as that ball's gone back, I've got to get myself back in position. He doesn't think that, and Gomez is alert, and he makes a great run in behind. Kadioglu plays a great pass, to be fair to him. The ball comes over to Gomez on this left wing, who's able to play this one into Gruder. Now we're a bit exposed. Konate's had to come across to try and deal with this because Szoboszlai wasn't in position. He's now scrambling to try and get back into Gruder. Gravenberch isn't really back enough. The ball has bypassed him. Van Dijk's got players to cover. He has to deal with Ruto. He has to try and stop the shot coming in. Gruder makes a great move, beats Szoboszlai, takes a shot, and I mean, this one whistles past the post. It really does. It was like one of them Nerf whistlers. It just goes past the post. I can't whistle, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't have the ability. 23 years old, can't whistle. Anyway, next clip, Florian Wirtz. More excellent defensive work from him on the left midfield. And this is something that I did not know he had in his game at all, to be honest. I knew he worked hard. I didn't know he could be this effective defensively. I mean, this is Van Hecke here, big centre-back. He nudges him off the ball. There's been a lot of criticism of him being too weak, not adapting to the Premier League, the strength of it. Well, tell that to John Paul Van Hecke here, because he just knocks him off the ball, comes away with it. Can we play now? Yes, we can. Finds his mate Ekatike, just absolutely goes Roadrunner mode, runs away from that little coyote who was trying to blow him up on Roadrunner, if you ever watched that cartoon when you were little. He starts flying again. He just absolutely burns Lewis Dunk, which is honestly like a prime Usain Bolt running past his granddad if his granddad had a walking stick. There's no hope for Lewis Dunk at all. And Ekatike completely burns him. Now, this is, again, where he falls down. For me, if he's able to, with his left foot, pass this ball across, then Salah can run onto it, it's a goal. Okay? Now, I don't really know who he's passing the ball to, but he cuts it back slowly. I don't know if it was meant for McAllister or Salah. Neither of them know either. Baliba gets in to try and make the tackle. It ends up with Salah. He has to take a shot from outside the box. It doesn't really trouble anybody. We mess up that attack. Now, obviously, we win this game, but if we don't, we'll be saying we're ruining these chances, and he just has to work on that a little bit. It's excellent play from him. You know, the dribbling is amazing, the athleticism, the dynamism. He obviously scores 2 goals in this game. Doesn't mean he's immune from criticism. There's been a couple of instances I've shown you where he can do better in that final third. Now, we see again here us defending and not defending all that well in my eyes. And this one, I'm going to look at Gravenberch for this example. He has a real tendency to do this. Guys, I want to point this out, and you can all get as mad as I do when he does it. If the winger has the ball and is running at our fullback, Gravenberch has a tendency to come over and act like he's helping, But all he does is look at Mitoma, okay? He just watches, like Charles Darwin with his binoculars. Yeah, that's all he wants to do, just look. He doesn't get over and make a tackle. He doesn't get in the passing lane to stop this ball coming in here. He just watches. It's not good enough. He has to impact the game more. Something for him to work on. They play a nice 1-2, see Gravenberch is late. He's too late for this. Ruta flicks it round the corner. Mitoma makes a great run. He gets in. On another day, he chips this one in the corner, and it's 2-1, and Brighton are right back in it. He could also maybe roll this one across. There could be a tap-in. He just about gets it wrong, and it goes past the post. But again, I think we've got to cut this out at source. I'm going to highlight the midfielders. Gravenberch in this instance, I think he's got to do better. But I'll finish on a positive, or almost a positive anyway. It could have been the ultimate swan song. Mo Salah's counter-attack, which he starts himself. You see Chiesa behind him. Love the efforts from Chiesa here to really surge forward and join the attack. Salah plays the ball to Robbo. Great ball from him. First time into the path of Chiesa, who's made a great burst forward. Does the right thing. Cuts it inside. Great pass to Salah. This would have been the perfect way to sign off the game. 3-0. Could be Salah's last game. You see everyone in the crowd anticipating Mo Salah. Can he get his goal? It comes to him. The fairy tale ending, potentially, for Mo Salah. Not quite. He balloons the ball over the bar. Doesn't quite get the finish. But on another day, we score. He gets his goal, and it's a really good counter-attack. Something we have lacked also this season so far. So, that is all the clips from the Brighton game that I wanted to show you. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy it. And if you did enjoy it, please do leave a like on the video. And now I'm going to be really cheeky. And I'm going to up the like target for the first time since I set a like target in the first place. Can we get 25 likes on the video? I've been asking for 20. We've been hitting it every week. Let's go for 25. And also, if you are new to the channel and you haven't yet clicked subscribe, please do click subscribe. Again, I've said this the last few videos. I want to say it again. The support on the channel has been amazing recently. And we are, at the time of recording, 2 subscribers away from 300. So if we can hit 300... To think I said a couple of days ago, can we get 250 before Christmas? It's now December 15th, and we're about to hit 300. So help me get to 300, guys. Click subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. And podcast listeners, of course, follow the show. 5-star rating and reviews. Thank you very much for watching and listening, however you consumed the content. Leave a comment, what you thought of the video, what you thought of Liverpool's performance, anything you noticed. I'll be back for a preview for the game on the weekend. Not going to midweek game this week, guys, so I have a few days off from videos. I will be previewing the game on the weekend, of course. That's when I'll next speak to you. Until then, have a good rest of your week. I'll speak to you all very soon. Goodbye.